Hello, everyone. This is a round voiceover for a show we had back in May at Legis Sporting Horses in Rockford, Illinois. This is our first outing since we had Harrisburg in October, so we use this as a bit of a warm up for the season. I showed in the Meter 20 Junior Amateurs Friday, Saturday, and then the Meter 30 Junior Amateur Classic on Sunday. The course today was a jump off course. Actually, all three courses of the weekend were jump offs. So this one started on the blue vertical on the end to a six bending stride, this orange line coming home. Walked kind of like how it rode, so it wasn't an issue there. Got up in my half seat to kind of make some time around the end of the ring. And then we had this three stride, which rode a little bit short for a lot of people, but it ended up being fine for Trevor. And then we come around again to the end of the ring, and I settled a little bit so that we wouldn't blast through this two stride. And then the bending five here, it rode pretty nice if you stayed out and got patient to that vertical coming home. And then we had this blue oxer going away from the in-gate, so had to keep his attention and not let him kind of drift towards that in-gate. And then I did a nice bend out in six so that he could see that vertical. And then we went right to the jump off, which started on this vertical by itself. A little bit more efficient here to the blue boxer, sliced it a little bit so that I could get inside to the orange vertical. Didn't love my distance there. I should have taken one out. He just kind of landed in a pile, so it wasn't my best jump off ride, but it was fine. And then again, just a little deep, a little past that blue on the end. And then we got over and then settled again for this two stride coming home. We were double clear, but slower the double clears, so ended up second out of three that night. Next, we are warming up on Saturday. We had pretty great weather throughout the whole weekend. There's a little bit of rain. I want to say maybe it was on Friday, but ended up being really nice for very early May. I think it was the first weekend of May. So in my flat work as I warm up, I do a lot of countering with Trevor because he's a pretty wiggly horse, and so I try to use that to get him straight using four of his legs at the same time. So we do some verticals, some others, and there was nothing really special about our warm up this day. Saturday's course started off with this bending eight stride. It was kind of a weird bend to it. Walked an eight. I got the eight done. Didn't end up liking the eight. It just seemed a little disjointed, but it worked out because then he got his eye on that blue instead of focusing on the sailboats. And then there was this five orange stride across the middle. Rode a little bit short just because they're headed home, but ended up being fine. Getting across the end of the ring, so I have time faults, balanced into this four stride, which ended up being able to ride up a little bit, which was nice. And then I took the inside track here to the jump on the end, which was set really deep in the corner. There are two places in this course, both there and then after jump two, that I took kind of an inside track to save some time, but it didn't ride like a jump off inside track. We do much shorter turns at home in the indoor all winter, so it didn't end up being any sort of like added difficulty. And then we had that bending six stride, tried to get there slowing down so we could have a nice combination. Finished on whatever that last jump was. And then the second round, I decided to take a stride out. I should have taken two. It ended up being slow and a little disjointed again because I both took the inside track and took my speed up, so I should have just committed to the six. I knew we could do it, but I chickened out. And then we had this rollback turn to the oxer, kind of had to jazz him to it because he wasn't quite sure. This was a really turny jump off course because then we had another roll back to the vertical across the middle, and then another roll back to the I think that was a skinny jump, yeah. And then we galloped on over to a triple bar set on the rail with a five stride coming home. The trick was to not be so bold over the triple bar that the five got too hot and rolled that top rail. But it was great. We ended up double clear and winning that round. All right, Sunday, last day. We ended up having quite a bit of a conflict waiting for someone to finish the class before us, and so we had plenty of time to goof around and just kind of hang out. I was able to show with my friend Claire in each of the classes this weekend, which is always fun being able to show with and against your friends for some friendly or not so friendly camaraderie. The class today was you could choose to either do the meter 20 height or the meter 30 height. So I decided to do the meter 30 height in preparation to do some bigger fences at the end of the month at Lamplight. So the schooling today, we also decided to add in a couple of bounces to get him sharp and thinking about his feet, but I didn't get those on video. The course started with this bending six stride. Just kind of had to measure it. Rode pretty fine. Trevor is so incredibly adjustable that basically whatever I walk, I can get done with not a ton of issue, which is really nice and really confidence building. And then we had this four stride across the middle to the one, which was the sailboats combination. Jousted him up a little bit in the middle there, and then rode him up to the jump on the end. He was a little bit dull after the last couple of days. He's the kind of horse that he likes to jump big, and so when they're a little bit small, I have to work extra hard to get him to pay attention. That was a bending six stride. There was a five there, but that four stride after it was really incredibly short. A lot of people actually did three in it. So I decided to wait for that six so that the four was easier for us, and then just ended on that six stride across the middle. And then the jump off, my goal was to ride a jump off. I need to get braver about being bold and turns, so I use this show over slightly smaller fences to kind of set my pace for the rest of the season. To really dig into those jump offs. I don't want to be a bridesmaid anymore. I want to be a bride. I want to win. So I got to practice. So this one had some pretty nice inside turns that we could do. And then I didn't pull. This is a change from Friday. I didn't pull to some of those. So everything rode up really quite nice. And we ended up being double clear and winning this class as well, ending champion of the division.